Hey, welcome to Let's Talk Nation. I'm your man, Rod Love, and sitting next to me is the General Attorney Greg Jackson.
Once again, it's on, brother Love. Hey, you know how we get this thing started every week, man. How's your weekend this past
Man, weekend was lovely, man. I tell you what, went to Reverend King Church, man. He had Shelly Ware King Day. You know, remember when Commissioner Brummer, God bless his soul, was alive, and he declared Shirley Ware King Day. Mm-hmm. Well, that's been going on for 9 years now.
Yeah.
And packed house, man. And oh man, there was a pastor who spoke named Willie Bell Smith. And boy, when I tell you, she brought the word. But then after that, man, Greg, did you know Golden Corrals was still around?
I think I did, because they still have one right over next to the Costco.
No, they don't.
They don't?
It's gone. It's gone. But they got one in Eustis, man. And I tell you, Greg, line be wrapped around the outside the door.
Really?
Man, we had a good time. Matter of fact, happened to see an individual that was in there with her husband, who happens to be a pastor as well. And she said, when y'all invite me on the show?
Who is this, man?
Candidate running for Senate District 15. I still say candidate because
why she gotta ask that though?
Hey man, she gave some respect. I'm gonna go ahead and get
she always asked that.
And I said, you know what, we're gonna extend the invitation.
I mean, from if this is who I think it is, from when she won and when she ran,
she was on
for the House Rep. She had an open invitation to come and join us anytime.
So let's go ahead and extend the invitation, and we don't need to make it Mystique. House Representative, or should I say former
House Representative, now currently Senate candidate. Well,
not elected. You're right.
I mean, you're right. Although I believe it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah,
we got to let the process play itself out. We don't want somebody to see this 6 months from now and say that the election was rigged.
Oh yeah,
Greg and Rod already said who it was, so we have to let the process play itself out.
Go ahead, Greg. Extend the invitation, man. Because
listen. As always, Levon Gracie Davis, at any time that you want to come and sit down and talk to the dynamic duo, you are welcome. We have always said that you're welcome to come and sit down and talk to us. We would love to hear what's going on, and we'd love to hear what your plans are for District 15. Not just because it's a part of the great Central Florida area, but it's also a part of where we live.
Right?
So
we had a blast with her some years back when she came over to
WOKB. Yeah, no doubt.
Had a good time.
Yeah, no doubt. So listen, please, probably busy right now. But when things slow down a little bit, let's come in and let's talk about it. So
absolutely. Greg, how was your weekend, man?
Our weekend was good, man.
Anything? I mean, were you traveling? Were you? What was going on, man?
Nah, no travel this weekend, man. I was in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to get my little.
There you go.
Get it back. You know what I'm saying? Got my new little workout routine that I'm working on. So I'm just trying.
So you back to the one hand push-ups?
No. My shoulder. I told you I messed my shoulder up doing that. I'm not doing that no more. No, my elbow. I messed up my elbow. My shoulder's fine. I messed up my elbow doing that, man. But yeah, now I got some kettlebells that I'm working with now. I got my weighted ropes I'm working with. I always got my steel weights. And I'm just trying to
make it do what it do. I hear you, brother.
Trying to stay healthy, man.
Great. There's a lot of news going on, man. Wait, hold up. Did you tell everybody who they listening to this night, man?
Man, I hadn't told you yet, but just in case they didn't know, man, they're tuned in to two of the most simple winter voices in Central Florida on a Monday night podcast. Brother Love and Greg Jackson, the dynamic duo, guaranteed to raise your IQs 15 to 20 points. And Brother Love on some nights, 25 to 30.
We're gonna push it up there.
Yeah, man. But if you want to be a part of the night show, all you got to do is hit 407-921-6195. Again, that's 407-921-6195. Or you can use your little Twitter fingers, Brother Love, and get on their Facebook, and they can text and they can talk to Brother Love and Greg Jackson right here on Facebook. The dynamic duo, two of the most simple with your voice in Central Florida. Brother Love, let's
get it on. Hey, so Greg, in jumping out here, man, this topic, this story is taking place in a little neck of the woods that you might be a little bit more familiar with. I know Greg Jackson and First Lady lives in these neck of the woods, and I'm talking about none other than what they call it, Duval.
Oh, you mean my parents?
Your parents? Yeah.
No, I don't live in a
But you know a little bit about it.
Hold on, wait. Yeah. So in case people don't know, man, recently I started getting back into TikTok, and so TikTok, for some reason, has been crazy enough to allow me to go live. And so I'm gonna go
So you
live.
going live tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of live on TikTok tonight. Hold on, wait 1 second. Let's see here.
Hey,
Title.
and by the way, I've been adding to your fan base over there, man. I've been seeing Greg. You've been doing a good job on that, man.
Oh man,
I saw the one, man. I think I saw about 3 or 4 so far. And the last one that I saw, you were talking about a woman, and I'm trying to remember, what did she do?
Oh man, I can't do it because I got to connect to the internet. And I don't want to connect to the internet because I'll lose my people on Facebook, and I don't want to lose my people on Facebook.
So we'll get that the next time, Greg.
No, we'll get that the next time.
Okay.
Now we got our loyal folks right here. I don't want that TikTok. They're going to have to wait.
But Greg, I see how you've been doing them TikToks, man. I mean, impressive, brother.
I mean, listen, man, I appreciate
The
it.
numbers are racking up too.
The numbers are racking up, man. The numbers are racking up, and you know, it's a fun time because all I'm doing is just talking about the stuff I like talking about. I get a chance to push back on folks every now and again. Some people have to find out I'm the.
But one thing I do see that you're doing, and one thing that they say, this is how you train yourself. Greg, you're being consistent. I'm seeing one of those, a new one, it seems like every day.
Yeah, listen, man. So yeah, really and truly, I do try to get on and record every day. And I try to give some fresh content. I try to give some insights and some stories and different things like that that's taking place. So yeah, I mean, but
Are you gonna tell people how they look you up on TikTok? You know, are you gonna let them know?
Nah, they ain't gotta go find me. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, listen, tell you the truth, I don't even know how to find me on TikTok.
Is it underneath your name?
I think it's under Greg Jackson ESQ or something like that. I think it's the same as a Facebook page or something like that. But I mean, listen, just one day I just woke up and I was like, you know what? Let me start getting more engaged and more involved on TikTok, and just started doing it, man. So,
well, Greg, something that
Lord have mercy,
man. I tell you, no matter what,
Lord have mercy.
Whether it's on TikTok,
you are Greg
I don't know.
Jackson Esquire.
Is that who I am? Who am I?
Greg Jackson ESQ.
Okay, all right. So that's who I am.
Yeah, to have somebody else tell you what your handle is on TikTok. Hey, but Greg, here's something that has been making TikTok, Facebook, I mean YouTube, you call it the issue with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office that stopped this young man by the name of Will McNeil.
Yeah.
And Greg, there's a lot of conversation taking place on it. And you and I was doing a little sidebar before we came live. Greg, this young man was stopped for not having his headlights on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and for those who have not necessarily been following the story, haven't necessarily followed the story just yet, on February 19th, and the only reason I remember that date, Brother Love, because that is a date that will forever go down as a date in infamy. Mm-hmm. That's the date that Greg Jackson was born. So February 19th, I'm going to remember that date.
Okay.
And so on February 19th, Will McNeil is in Jacksonville. I think he's home from school or something because he's a student somewhere. And apparently it's inclement weather. Now, for those of us from North Florida, we don't know what inclement weather is. In other words, it looked like it was about to rain outside. That's what it is. Yeah. Inclement weather. It's not necessarily rain, or maybe a little bit of rain is coming down, maybe cloudy, overcast, something like that. But it's called inclement weather. So he's driving this vehicle in inclement weather, and a law enforcement officer, Mr. Officer Bauer, decides that Mr. McNeil needs to have his lights on. And since he don't have his lights on, I'm going to pull him over. So they pulled this guy over, Brother Love, because he didn't have his lights on in inclement weather. Now, I didn't know that was a crime. I'm going to be honest with you. Now, trust me, I know that in the Florida statute, it says certain things about lights being on and things like that. But I didn't think that was something that law enforcement officers really and truly would waste time to stop a person because they don't have lights on in inclement weather.
And so to that end, though, Greg, I mean, okay, the lights wasn't on, but then I've been watching this thing from different angles. I saw about 4 or 5 police cars that pulled up, and their lights were on. But let me jump ahead, Greg, because here's something I think is critically important, man, and I'm gonna say it. I got a problem, man, on both sides of how that was responded to.
Now watch your mouth, Brother Love.
Nah, man,
watch your mouth, Brother Love. I know you're not about to blame this young man for what happened to him on the side of the road. I'm not
going to blame the young man for what happened to him on the side of the road. Right. Law enforcement, the punch, totally inappropriate.
All right, so we're in agreement on that.
We're in agreement on that. here's what I will say to you, and you've heard me say this before. Whether it's my kids or anybody else's kids,
Mm-hmm.
man, I want my kids to come home. And I will tell you, Greg, I got a problem with the response to law enforcement. And I got a sister and a brother in law enforcement.
Okay.
When you are on the side of the road, that's not the time to figure out that you're gonna mete out justice on the side of the road.
No,
to
you don't
law
argue.
enforcement.
You don't argue a case on the side.
You don't do that.
Argue a case on the side.
And Greg, here's the other side of it, man. And I, put myself in the perspective of law enforcement, if you would. And I've never been law enforcement, but Greg, man, the danger spike went up, I think, exponentially, man, when that door got slammed closed again. And law enforcement.
Now, listen, we talking. People don't even know what we're talking about right now. So the young man gets pulled over by law enforcement. He opens his door to ask the question of why am I being pulled over? All right, a legitimate question. All right, listen, I'm not speeding. I'm not doing this. Why am I being pulled over? Your lights aren't on, and it's inclement weather.
Yeah.
I kind of understand. You close your door. You say, "Man, you got to be kidding. You got to be joking."
So you understand him slamming his door closed and locking it. And Craig,
I ain't say that now. I ain't say that part.
Okay.
I ain't say that part. I said I understand him closing the door and said, "You got to be kidding."
And you and I, we get it when there's a request for a supervisor. We get it. But Greg, I think the officer was wrong. That punch, Greg, is that in policy anywhere? Is that use?
All right. So let's we got to lay
We got
ground.
to lay the ground. Okay, I'm skipping around.
Yeah, you got to lay the ground because now you don't went from you closed the door till you got punched. Now, when he closed the door, this is the part that I agree with you on wholeheartedly, Brother Love, where I think that there were things that were done on both sides of the coin on this thing. When he closed the door, he rolled up his window, and I don't know what was the tint like. Did he have tint on his windows?
I can't recall tint, but just to me, Greg. You do that, the alert is going to go high from a law enforcement standpoint. We've seen on both sides things taking place out there, man, where law enforcement has been assaulted with deadly force, and we've seen law enforcement exert what we deem unnecessary force.
I mean, so the minute he closes the door, law enforcement is thinking a couple things. And I've never been law enforcement either, but we've been in rooms. And we've seen certain things happen. We've actually, when Chief Malone was the chief of police here in Orlando, we used to have a chance to sit down and talk to him, and there were different things that were taking place that we would be called in on, along with Dr. Randy B. Nelson, who was one of the foremost experts on law enforcement and community. But the moment he closed that door, law enforcement does not know what is happening behind that glass. And the fact that he would not open his door, would not roll down his windows, they're thinking, what is this guy doing or getting ready to do? Because he could have easily have been a really, really bad guy. And he could have easily been loading a gun and getting ready to unload on police officers, much the same way that we've seen, in various areas where law enforcement officers are ambushed, where they're shot at, they're run over. And so their alert antennae go up when this guy gets in the car after being stopped, albeit I think that it was a horrible stop. But gets in the car after a stop, slams his door, rolls up his windows, and refuses to follow law enforcement's direction.
Refuses to do that, and Greg, I mean, there's some other details that we got after the fact. Driving with a suspended license.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, don't know if. Let me use the word you talk. Allegedly suspended license.
I mean, if they were suspended, ain't no alleged that at all. Yeah.
And so, I mean, don't know if he knew his license. I mean, that's neither here nor there. But Greg, I look at it from the perspective that the officer needs to be held accountable, but also, man, I think we do communities a great injustice if we sit here and not say, or at least try to school to some degree, because we don't want other young men. We want you to come home at night is the bottom line.
Right.
If you think that there's something that's not appropriate based on how law enforcement treats you, there's processes and procedures for that, and you're not going to get that process and procedure to take place and unfold on the side of the road.
I mean, obviously not, because although those officers were wrong, although that initial officer was wrong that pulled them over, he still ended up getting drug out of his car. He still ended up being arrested. He still ended up having to go through the process of someone who was being detained for was it resisting without force? or was resisting?
I don't know what that was, but the same officer that threw the punch through the window, Greg, when you look at the camera, the video camera that was inside the vehicle, you see the same officer throwing a punch when they're detaining him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that law enforcement officer, I think, not only needs to be retrained, I think that he really truly needs to be removed from the force. And obviously, the sheriff in that area, T.K. Waters, believed the same, because after the state attorney's investigation came back, which the state attorney's investigation basically came back and said that there were no criminal laws broken by the officer in this stop, or by the young man, is my understanding. But he still removed or stripped that officer of his law enforcement authority, because I think that he took it too far from the stop. And when he broke the window, okay, you break the window, you get him out, but you break the window, you don't punch him and then drag him out of the car and then punch him again.
But here's the third piece, man, that Greg, I also feel very, very strongly about. And I think I feel strongly about this because you and I, and you mentioned former police chief Orlando Rolón, because you and I have been able to witness and be in the association. And, we know law enforcement and leadership positions around the state here. And one of the things, man, that sticks out to me, man, and I hate to even go this far out on this piece, Greg, but you just said something that I was unaware of, where the sheriff there has now sided with the prosecutor. Well, originally the sheriff said he didn't see anything wrong with what took place. Keep in mind, this stop, as you mentioned before, took place months ago. And so one of the things, man, I think leadership matters. I think leadership matters a great deal. And what I saw was the initial interviews that this sheriff actually got out in front of the cameras and said he didn't see anything wrong with the stop. I think law enforcement leadership matters.
Yeah.
To the extent, Greg, that I think when you respond, and even if he had said, hey, look, we're going to let this investigation pan out and we're going to let it take us where it may.
Right.
I would respect that a great deal more than what I heard initially, almost immediately after this thing went viral and it broke, from the perspective of law enforcement, that leadership saying, well, initially, I don't see anything on the face of it.
I mean, so I kind of understand. So it's almost like we switch sides now. It's almost like we switch sides. I kind of understand what the sheriff was saying, because my understanding is that the sheriff said, when you're pulled over, you need to follow police officers' directions. That was my understanding, that he was like, listen, if they're telling you to let the window down, you need to let the window down. If they're telling you to get out the car, you need to get out the car. That was the perspective that I understood he was saying. That
I could agree with you on that. I could, but I don't. Okay, I can agree with you on that. But Greg, I don't. Well, you know what? This is Monday morning quarterbacking.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to presume that I knew what was in his head. But I will say again, law enforcement leadership matters. It matters to the extent that how you navigate these processes can impact communities, and also those men and women that are out there. It can make their job just that much harder.
Well, but let me give you some context also about why it is that the sheriff in Jacksonville needs to be very careful about how officers respond and act with individuals in the community, because it wasn't too long ago. It's been about 2 decades now, but it wasn't too long ago where there was a band of rogue officers in Jacksonville. And these rogue officers were known for robbing drug dealers, taking their money, for giving false testimony. As a matter of fact, 2 of those officers' testimony was actually thrown out by a judge.
Wow.
And it went up and it escalated to the point to where this band of rogue officers actually pulled over and robbed a business owner of $51,000 and killed him in the process. So this is a space that Jacksonville is in, is that they have a reputation, albeit still not as spoken about as many people know, but it's still some things that are still in the underbelly of certain areas of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. And listen, I believe that they've done a good job of cleaning up certain things and putting that other side to the side. But when you see things like this, and this officer dragging this young man out of the car, and then these other officers rushing this kid, not knowing exactly everything that's going on, it takes people back to these rogue officers that the department took up for when they were caught and there were known reports of them robbing drug dealers and planting evidence on people and different things like that. So the Jacksonville sheriff has to be very careful because, I mean, I don't live in Jacksonville now. I wasn't living in Jacksonville at the time, but I went to school in Jacksonville for graduate school, and I still remember some of the things that I would hear about Jacksonville Police Department, JSO. So he needs to be very careful when he's dealing with the public and these officers who people still don't really trust.
Yeah. And Greg, let me say this, because you and I, we always say this and make sure that we make it clear that, man, we are supportive of law enforcement that's out there doing their job appropriately in the way that it's supposed to be done. And we've also seen great leadership from law enforcement that knows how to do one of the things, Dr. Nelson, who travels the country and trains not just law enforcement, but communities from the perspective of, on both sides, learning how to develop a chip in the bank.
Yeah.
The chip in the bank, meaning the bank of community trust.
Mhm.
I like the way he pinned that together. From the perspective of, Greg, it's not a matter of if something like this is going to happen. It's a matter of when it happens.
Yeah.
Having relationships in the community that you've actually been investing in that community from building a relationship.
But now here's a big question.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's a big question. My mom and I, we had a discussion about this on just yesterday. Now that we've seen the tape, now that we know that there are some things that were done that weren't done correctly by the law enforcement officers from a couple of different perspectives. Now we got the lawyers involved. And one of the lawyers who represents this young man has actually been on the show,
Right.
a good friend of the show.
Exactly.
We have a lot of respect for him. But now we have a lawyer involved. And the question is, how much money is this guy going to get?
And that's
The question. And so the conversation that my mom and I had, it was, okay, this happened to this guy. If you were on that jury, how much are you saying that this guy should get? If it goes to trial, how much do you think this guy is going to get? And my mom was like, well, he lost a tooth. He got scraped up. He can't hear now. He's deaf in his ear for the rest of his life. I mean, just all this other stuff. But y'all don't even know if it's true. But just, she just throws it. She just piles stuff. Okay, all right, I got you. What is that worth? Maybe a couple $100. No, maybe $1 million. And I said, well, listen, I said, I'll evaluate cases quite a bit. A tooth is not worth $1 million.
$1 million.
It's just not. His hearing loss is not worth $1 million if he's lost his hearing for the rest of his life. The thing that people struggle with all the time when they see these things is this a money grab?
Mm-hmm.
Is this person doing this just to get money? Because if it was something just to make sure that it doesn't happen to anyone else, where's the education component? Where's the outreach in the community to say, hey, listen, this is how we do things better? Why wasn't Dr. Randy B. Nelson sitting next to this young man when they addressed this issue?
Right. And Greg, he is called by media across the country. We haven't seen him. I'd love to hear what Dr. Nelson's thoughts are about this case. But something else you said, Greg, I want to kind of back up real quick. The Orange County Citizen Safety Task Force.
Yeah.
One of the recommendations in that task force, and it's that was the 2021 task force. And I want you to see how I'm weaving this together. Greg, trainings, information, and education takes place if you're working in government. Even if you're in public works, you're going and you're getting trained a few times of the year.
Yeah.
Law enforcement is going through regular training, and that's one of the things I give up to them, going through regular trainings to be more proficient at what they do, no matter what occupation, private sector, public sector. But one area, Greg, that there is almost no ongoing and regular education and information and awareness, the community sector. Just imagine the fact that you have a lot of young men and young women that are never, here's something that I'd love to do. I'd love to host, and Dr. Nelson, by the way, just recently was blessed and gifted the mobile simulator for shoot and don't shoot.
Okay.
Of which he's looking at how do he partner with Let's Talk Nation so that we can take this into a community. And Greg, when you put yourself in the position of law enforcement and think about their training level, oftentimes citizens in that shoot don't shoot simulator are shooting citizens.
Oh, yeah, they lighten them up. I've seen this. Yeah. Yeah.
And so here's my point. Greg, I think there needs to be regular and ongoing information, education, and training that takes place in communities on a regular basis. Because, Greg, I think one of the things it will do, it'll prepare parents and it'll prepare these young people. And I was going to leave it with that, but you also have what I might call old fools.
Yeah.
It will prepare them so that if they ever experience this, you got a better likelihood of understanding and knowing how to react to this than some of the reactions that we've seen.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So, but listen, so I mean, this is a very interesting story, intriguing indeed. Listen, we're probably, believe it or not, we're probably not going to hear much more about it.
You think?
Nah, not much more about it, because what's going to happen is there's going to be some backdoor discussions or backroom discussions about, hey, how do we settle this case?
How do we resolve it?
And once it is settled, it becomes a confidential issue, a confidential matter. So we probably won't hear much more now.
Well, you know that trade, so I'm gonna defer to you. And hey, but Greg, there's something else, man. And I saw this gentleman, but it was for something else. But it's real interesting. Dr. Umar Johnson.
So listen, when we talk about black males in the community and supporting black males in the community, one of the voices that has been at the forefront for about a decade now is Dr. Umar Johnson, which that's not his real name, by the way. I found that out today. But Dr. Umar Johnson is a how do I say this? So he's a psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I kind of pause is because he says he's a psychologist who received his doctorate of psychology from the Pennsylvania College of Osteopathic Medicine. But they can't seem to find where he did his dissertation. They also record and they post their graduations online. And it just so happens that the graduation for the year that Dr. Umar Johnson would have graduated has a copyright infringement attached to it, to where you cannot see the video to see who actually graduated during that year. So there's no real proof that Dr. Umar Johnson is an actual doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But that aside, he has been very controversial. He was very critical of Oprah Winfrey and her starting school, very critical of Obama, saying that he didn't do anything for the black community or the African American community. As a matter of fact, he actually called Barack Obama a coon, which is highly offensive,
Mm-hmm.
not just for an African American male to be called a coon, but for another black male to call an African American male a coon is reprehensible. And he's also vehemently opposed to interracial marriage and interracial relationships and all the other things.
Is he married, by the way?
He's not married, but he's had some girlfriends and has a couple daughters who one of his daughters said that he was never around. But that aside. So Dr. Umar Johnson, the reason why we're talking about him tonight, Brother Love, is because he has a school. He's been trying to start a school for about a decade. It is the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Leadership Academy. And he's been taking donations and money for this academy for the better part of 10 years.
Wait, hold up, Greg. It's not in operation?
No, it is not in operation. After all these years, it's still not in operation. Now, he'll post things online from time to time. Hey, send me some money. The HVAC system is here and we got to get it plugged up. Or we're trying to get this done. And, you got to send some money to, to my PayPal account. As a matter of fact, PayPal shut him down because they found out that he was not a 501c3, was not a nonprofit organization. So he gets money through various other ways, through Apple Pay and all these other things. But Dr. Umar Johnson, this past weekend, Brother Love, was on social media asking for money again.
I saw that. But that's why I asked you that. I mean, when you saw his ask, it made you think that these schools were in operation.
Well, here's the thing. He was not asking for the schools. Apparently what has happened is Dr. Umar Johnson, who looks a lot like a young Mr. T, believe it or not,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Umar Johnson is in South Africa. And while in South Africa, he said that he went to send one of his friends a couple of dollars, that's his words, not mine. And when he went to do so, his account would not allow him to access, or he was unable to access his account. Well, come to find out, he says that his accounts have been frozen by the government due to fraudulent activity because of someone else, not to do with him, but because of someone else. So Dr. Umar Johnson, who has collected probably hundreds of thousands of dollars from hardworking people to support his vision and his dream of starting a school for young black men, and although he has been very critical of others who've tried to do the same thing, was on social media asking for money for himself. Because he doesn't have any money, he can't access his own accounts. Now, Brother Love, it's very sad and very interesting when we talk about the case of Dr. Umar Johnson, because I think that initially he started out wanting to do the right thing.
Mhm.
He has over 1 million followers on certain platforms and on combined with his X account, and yet and still he still has not been able to accomplish the things that he has said that he was going to accomplish in a record time. Matter of fact, the school was supposed to open September 3rd of 2024, and it's still not open.
Where's the school located? Supposedly. It's
So
located.
I've heard that the school is located in Atlanta, but in another post that I saw him saying something about they were painting a school in Delaware. So I get confused about where the school is, but it's supposed to be in Atlanta, Georgia, but it is not open yet.
Greg, I saw that posting. I saw that plea, and come on, man, I got to tell you, the way it was presented, you think that it was Marcus Garvey School and Frederick Douglass.
Yeah. Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey's Leadership Academy. And here's the other thing too. We talk about Dr. Umar Johnson and who he is. Like I said, that's not his real name. I forget his real name. But he has declared himself to be a direct descendant of Frederick Douglass. Now the problem is, the Douglass family has said he is not a part of our family.
Greg, what does he call himself? The Prince of what?
He is the Prince of Pan-Africanism.
So what?
Go figure.
Yeah.
Go figure.
So, Greg, I guess we'll see. But he's in South Africa right now. Did he say anything about his return or him being able to return because of?
Listen, man, he can't get them coins together. He ain't gonna be able to come back. Well, listen, let me take that back. I think if he overstays his visitor's visa or whatever it is that you go there,
They put him out, won't they?
Yeah, they'll put you out. So yeah, there's no worries with that.
But Greg, you said something, and I want to just hit this before we go. Greg, you are right. This guy has been on social media for a while.
Yeah.
Social media pays, and with 1 million followers, he's getting pretty nice checks.
So what he does is this. In addition to being paid off your own content, because his content isn't getting him paid.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, what it be to get paid for your content, you have to be monetized with ads and different things like that. And there's not too many people rushing to be a part of a Umar Johnson video. It's just not. So the way that he gets money, also aside from asking nice people for money to support his school, is he gets money by going on to other people's podcasts who will pay him a certain amount to be on their podcast. And listen, there's nothing wrong with that. There are a lot of influencers who do the same thing. As a matter of fact, there's this one influencer over in California who was getting ready to beat up another influencer because he didn't pay him his $200 to be on his podcast. But remember, Shannon Sharp, when Cat Williams was on his podcast, Cat Williams got a part of the proceeds from that podcast. Marlon Wayans, when he was asked to go on a certain platform, he asked for a certain amount of money. The guy was like, well, you don't generate that number of views. And Marlon ended up, going on another show and killing it. He got crazy views. And so they bring certain people on that they feel can increase the number of views. And based on what they're able to generate, with those views, they will pay people to come onto their sites, onto their platforms.
So great with 1 million followers.
Yeah.
And I understand what you're talking content now, and you don't see regular mainstream advertisement. So what you get paid is much less.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, with the 1 million followers, and that's, I don't know how many views he gets because that's what it's based on more than anything else. But I mean, he may make a couple $1,000s a month. Which, I mean, listen, it's not bad as a side hustle, but if that's what you're trying to live off of, that's not gonna cut it. And so his ex-girlfriend actually got onto a platform and she basically said, don't send this guy any money. What's happening right now, let it play out, and you will see that this guy is not who he's been telling you he is.
Wow.
So, the interesting part of this story is, Dr. Umar Johnson has been asking for money to build the school that is still not in existence. He has now found himself in a situation where his accounts are supposedly frozen. And he cannot access any funds, and so now he's asking people to send him money through Cash App and through Apple Pay and all of this other stuff.
And I'm not going to say the names, Greg, but he accredited his account being frozen to 2 individuals.
But one of them he called Medea, which is his ex-girlfriend.
Oh,
Not Tyler Perry. Medea is what he calls his ex-girlfriend, and this other pastor, something like that. People who I guess are calling him out.
You know, when I heard that,
that's who
I thought it was.
So Medea is his ex-girlfriend. He just calls his ex-girlfriend Medea. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad you straightened that up.
So, but yeah. So, he's saying that it's because of these two individuals that they have done some fraudulent things with his account, and that's why his account has been frozen. But Medea, the ex-girlfriend, is like, nah, that's not what this is. So,
well, hey, good luck to him, Greg. We're gonna dive into something else, man. That's it's coming, man. The Florida 2026 gubernatorial race, man.
Listen, before we get into that, let's talk to the people about the importance of voting. Every election cycle, we get to a certain period and a certain point where people start to reach out and they start asking questions, well, who's running?
Mm-hmm.
What do they stand for? If you ever find yourself asking that question, you're probably 6 to 8 months too late.
Yeah, you're right.
And the time to really start looking at and determining who it is that you may have an interest in supporting is a year before an election even takes place. Start looking at the people, start seeing who's out there, start learning more about those individuals, what they're about, so that when the time comes to start listening to what they're saying, because they're going to really start hitting the campaign trail about 8 to 6 months out, and you hear them saying certain things, now you can look and say, wait a minute, I've been seeing some of their work that you've done in the past, and that just doesn't match up. So it is important, but look, talk to them about how important it is to educate themselves.
Greg, I mean, we've been 8 years plus, man, and having this conversation. But here's the thing. I'm gonna go to the other side. Those folk who sit back and say and complain about everything that's taking place, and then you ask them, are you familiar with the candidates? Are you familiar with their body of work? And one of the things that people used to love, and they say, you and Greg don't talk about that anymore. They kind of made me think about it. Remember, we used to always talk about where those candidates that used to come forth and they ran a race, didn't win the race, but if you heard their plea to the community, you would think and believe that person is going to be around regardless of whether. Right. And it's almost like, where are they now?
Yeah. Where's Waldo?
Yeah. And so great. The importance, man, of actually getting out and voting and doing your homework, you would realize that a small percentage of the population is making the decision for the majority of the population because people are not getting out. So don't be the one to complain when you don't get the level of public safety from law enforcement being in your community. Don't complain when you look up and your trash is being picked up 1 day a week versus 2 days a week. Don't complain when you see decisions that are being made.
I mean, let's put real numbers in this book. Look, you talk about that, and you're absolutely right. And I don't think people really truly realize that. You're absolutely right that there's a small number of individuals who are deciding who's going to lead your community. Case in point, City of Orlando, and pick any race in City of Orlando. And you probably have about 20 to 30,000 people in each district, 1 through 6 for City of Orlando. The mayor runs at large, so he gets all of the districts that vote for him. But if you look at one of those districts and that has 20 to 30,000 people, the person that is elected to run and to guide that particular district probably anywhere between 3,000 and 4,000 people have come out to vote in that election.
You just basically danced around one of the races that you and I follow.
No. Listen, if you look at the race with Jim Bray, if you look at the one with Robert Stewart, if you look at the one with Sharon Rhodes, if you look at the one with Bakari Burns, if you look at the number of people who actually come out and vote, you're not going to get I think the most number I've seen for any one district may have been either Jim Bray's or Robert Stewart, and there were like 5,000 people that came out for that out of 20-some odd thousand people.
And man, that's a crying shame.
Yeah.
But then just coming back full circle again, though, Greg, we see people that complain about things that they don't like in their community, but yet if you ask them, did you go vote? And they ask you who was running.
Right. Well, more importantly, Brother Love, and we've been telling people this for years, it's not just did you go vote. When a person was running, did you support them by either going out campaigning with them, for them, or raising money.
You
for
raise
them.
money. You're right.
I
You're right.
mean, you know, and I know this because I ran for 2 elections, and I can tell you right now that the lifeblood of any and all campaigns is finances.
Mhm.
And
Getting your message out.
Getting your message. That's how you get your message out. And so if someone is running, and you don't, I mean, and you're not buying anything. When you support someone, and when you write a check, you're not writing a check so that you can go and tell them what to do. You're writing it because you really, they say they take a little $1,000, but you're really trying to write the check because you want to show that you support that person. But if you build that relationship with those people, because the way that you build relationships is you bring them into your home,
Mhm.
you bring them into your community, you have real conversations with them, and then when they get in, they're not talking to you just because you wrote them a check. They're they're talking to you because you had conversations with them.
Mhm.
You supported them and understand what their views are. And so that's how you're able to have those conversations. It's not the checks that you write. Although the checks are nice.
And let me. I know we're going to get into candidates and stuff, but let me do a rewind on you, Greg, because I don't know if there's been any change. But who are the candidates running for Orange County Mayor that's going to be taking place next year?
For the ones that we know, right now, you have Tiffany Moore Russell, who is currently the clerk of courts for Orange County. She is a former county commissioner for District 6. You also have county commissioner for District 3, Myra Uribe. You also have former Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy, who is also declared to run for that race. You have another gentleman on the other side. He's run for that seat before. I apologize, I forget his name. But there's a gentleman that's in that race as well. But the 3 main candidates that you have in this race that everyone needs to sit down and find something out about them and look and see. I know at least 2 of those candidates and have a great deal of respect for the 2 that I know.
You know,
A great deal of respect.
it's interesting. We invited Commissioner Uribe, this was several months ago, to come on the show. And Greg, she told us some things about it was Visit Orlando at the time.
That's right.
And
how she stood up and she fought against certain things and that was taking place.
And Greg, I mean, to the extent that she basically informed the public and the community about those limited resources that we have out there, man, and she took us through a step-by-step process. But you know what? That's what people have to do. Call your candidate, or call, when I say your candidate, call these individuals, have a conversation so that you can actually understand what is it they're going to do to impact your quality of life and your family's quality of life. You mentioned Tiffany Moore Russell, the clerk of the court.
Yeah.
Former commissioner.
Well, I mean, listen, so what Tiffany Moore Russell has done, because when you are a commissioner, you are one of 7. You know, it depends on but here in Orange County, you're one of 7. And so she went from being one of 7 to being the head of one of the largest court systems in the state of Florida. She actually has the 9th Circuit for Orange County.
Yeah.
And as the clerk of court, she has transitioned and taken that and has shown the executive leadership that's needed at the next level. And so, you know, whoever it is that you decide to support, whatever the case may be, look and see who that person is and what that person's all about. And you're right. I mean, Tiffany Moore Russell is a former commissioner. You know, and listen, let me just get this out now. And a lot of people might know this and they may not know this, but I went to law school with Tiffany Moore Russell.
Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Tiffany was when I was the 1L, Tiffany was the 2L. She was one of the individuals that when I got on the campus of the Florida State University College of Law, her along with Ernest Deloge, you had I hate naming people because then I forget people, man. You had Gladys. You had a whole bunch of people. I'm sorry there. Kenny Pratt, everybody. I'm sorry, y'all.
So you know Ken Pratt?
Yeah, you know Kenny Pratt is 06, man.
Okay.
But he was at Florida State.
Good guy, man.
Yeah,
Good guy.
He was a 2L when I was a 1L too. So I got a chance to know these people at a point where they were coming up and talking about their dreams and aspirations and how they wanted to do different things, and then to be able to sit back and, you know, Ernest Deloge, and to be able to sit back and see those individuals who are in law school and say, you know what, I knew they were going to do that.
Grow and develop.
I knew, you know, you can just see certain things about people. Uric Abercrombie was at law school with them. He was in my class. Matter of fact, Uric Abercrombie, myself, and Trakina Graham, we threw one of the largest non-law school sanctioned parties in the history of Florida state law, because it was during February which our birthdays is during that month.
See,
And so, yeah, you're Abercrombie. I mean, the sharp guy, even then, I just knew he was going to be a successful attorney.
Man.
You could just tell, just certain people, Shakina Graham, I knew she was going to start her own thing and just light it up.
man.
So, yeah.
So Greg, we talked about two of the candidates, and then the last candidate that we're talking about, former Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy.
Yeah, I had a chance to meet Stephanie Murphy when I was running for public office. She treated me very, very nicely. She was very kind. She was actually working at Full Sail at the time. So I mean, I don't know her politics very well. I just know she was a former congresswoman. I know her more so as an individual who was working at Full Sail, who was trying to connect her school with individuals who were working for the community. And I mean, I just thought she was a very nice lady. But I mean, in terms of what her politics are, I will learn that. But just get to learn these candidates.
And as we always say, this platform is open to those candidates as well, and we welcome you to come on the show and tell people more about yourself.
Absolutely.
So Greg, hit the rewind button, man. Florida 2026 gubernatorial race.
Yeah.
Who are the front runners in that race right now?
So on the Republican side, well, on the
You got two.
the funny thing, though, listen, I'm telling you the funny thing. On the Democrat side, the front runner is actually a former Republican.
Johnny. Is that Johnny?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the front runner, almost like Charlie Crist.
Yeah.
So the front runner on the Democrat side is actually a former Republican, Jolly. But on the Republican side, this is going to be an interesting race. And the only reason why we're talking about it is because of the interest that this race is going to garner, and has already garnered on a national scale.
When you mentioned the only Democrat front runner, you know why it's only, why that individual is the Democratic front runner right now? Is because the minority Senate leader, who was a Democrat, who dropped out of the leadership in the Florida Senate and withdrew himself from the Democratic Party and has chosen to run as an independent, Senator Pizzo. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Yes.
Okay.
So, and that happened quick. I mean, 1 week he withdrew from the minority leadership. A couple of weeks later, announced his his candidacy for governor.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then you and I both we see this other individual who has I don't know it. I mean, come on, man, you can't get around it. Famous trial attorney John Morgan has announced the creation of a third party. I guess, is that how you would say that? Greg?
Yeah, I mean that's how you said. We've heard these third party creations before.
And in the history,
Elon Musk is talking about creating a third party also.
Yeah. But in the history, it hasn't. No third party has ever won.
No third party will ever win. It's just not in the cards to have a third party to come in. I mean, the third parties really and truly don't even hold a place in the House or the Senate.
You're right.
Only third party that I can think of that's in the Senate right now is Bernie Sanders, and he caucuses with the Democrats. Remember, people don't realize this, so they forget this. Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat. He's not. He's an independent that caucuses with the Democrats.
Greg, who else was a famous individual that was an independent that caucused with the Democrats, and he's no longer in Congress? I think he was he married to the woman, the Hines family heir? Man, I can't remember the guy's name, Greg.
I mean, the one that was married to the family was Edwards, wasn't it? No, not John Edwards. Yeah, no, Kerry. John Kerry. He was independent.
No, it's not Kerry to them. So that's the wrong. But Greg, Bernie Sanders is one of the most famous independents. But again, you mentioned the fact that he caucuses with the Democrats.
Yeah. But listen, while we're talking about Democrats real quick, so apparently Kamala Harris is lining up to run for governor of California, and a lot of people were thinking that she was going to make another run for president in 2028, which is still a slight possibility. Have you heard who the potential front runner for the Democratic Party is to get the nomination for the Democratic to be the Democratic nominee for president?
Who? Don't keep me in suspense. Who?
AOC.
What? Are you serious?
I'm very serious.
That's out there in the atmosphere.
Yes. She is actually moving up the ranks as one of the front runners to get the Democratic nod as the nominee for president. Now you have Gavin Newsom, obviously, that's out there. You still have Kamala Harris that's out there. You're gonna have some other names that float around, but AOC, I mean, she's been positioning herself and making some power moves right now. Who is that? Mamdani that she's been ushering around DC, who's actually the front runner for the mayor of New York right now.
But Greg, here's the thing though. I think, man, it's easy to do that kind of stuff because you get more name recognition. You getting some free, what they call it, earned media.
Mm-hmm.
Great. If you don't have to put anything up at risk to do it, because you can maintain your Senate or your House seat and run.
Yeah.
So I think, man, and just like they're talking now about term limits for individuals in Congress, come on, man, if you risk nothing, it costs you nothing to do that, to throw your name in there.
Yeah, true. But now, query me this. How many House representatives have ever won the presidency?
None that comes to mind. None that comes to mind.
So while she may be a front runner, I think it is a long shot. I mean, she may get in for like maybe vice president or something like that.
You may get a consideration for it? Because, I mean, come on. Hey, Greg, I don't think the rest of the country is leaning that far left.
Listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you the dream ticket for the Democratic Party right now as I sit right here. The dream ticket for the Democratic Party would be Gavin Newsom and AOC. That's the dream ticket.
Okay.
You got the West Coast and the East Coast. No, listen, you got the West Coast and the East Coast.
You're telling jokes right now.
Listen, I'm just telling you what it is.
Okay, and you look at the condition of the West Coast right now.
Don't nobody care.
Don't nobody care?
Think about it. Nobody cares. The hard left Democrats thinks that everything is just hunky-dory in California as well as in New York.
Well, Greg, that's why they will lose and continue to lose.
I'm not going to argue with you on that. I'm not going to argue with you. And listen, I'm
Greg,
a Democrat. Yeah. Think about it. What other ticket could garner the votes other than that ticket right there? Two of the largest states with the most number of delegates. They would most certainly garner the support of the other blue states that's out there, the Michigans that's out there.
You know what the problem I see that's coming fast? The problem that I see coming fast is African American community is waking up, man. I mean, and when I say waking up, they're waking up all across the country. Waking up to the extent, and here's where the problem comes in at. You see individuals say, I'm going to be an independent. When you become an independent, you can't vote in primaries.
Right.
That's right off the cuff.
Well, most people don't vote in primaries anyways. The only people who really truly vote in primaries are super voters. You vote in, I vote in. If you look at a primary election, that's why the numbers on primary elections are so low.
Greg, but tell me this. Why do you think?
Except for presidential primaries. Those are the only ones. Like if you're talking about the typical primaries, most people don't pay attention.
No. I think it's going to be interesting, man. I think it's going to be interesting. Greg, as we wind down, okay, front runners.
Yeah.
Front
So listen, on the Republican side, the two front runners are names that have been floated around now for the better part of almost a year now. The person who is almost a darling of the Republican Party, at least nationally, is Byron Donald. Mm-hmm. And Byron Donald, who has garnered the support of Donald Trump in much the same way that Ron DeSantis did when he initially ran, has the full-throated endorsement of Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, Byron Donald last month raked in $22 million for his campaign. And you would think that a person who rakes in $22 million is pretty much set and on their way. Mm-hmm. Now, the problem is the person that he's running against is the wife of the now sitting governor of the state of Florida by the name of Casey DeSantis. And Casey DeSantis is very, very well liked. Many people have said, and if Governor DeSantis is listening, I apologize, but I just got to say what people are saying, that she would have probably been made a much better governor than Governor DeSantis. But listen, he even thinks the same thing because he's endorsing her to run up. So in some form or fashion, he feels at least that she's at least as good as him because that's why he's endorsing her. Now, the problem is that even with $22 million being raked in by Byron Donald, if you look at the polls right now, surprisingly, Casey DeSantis is either slightly ahead or in a statistical dead heat with Byron Donald.
That doesn't look. I mean, that doesn't play well for Donald's, I would imagine.
It does not. It does not. But listen, they have a lot of track ahead of them, and it's going to be interesting to see how this thing pans out. The problem, though, or the concern, and for me it doesn't matter one way or the other. But the concern that I have if I were working with Donald is I don't know how well he resonates with Black male voters. And unlike many other elections that African American males have been ignored, I think that this last election, where Donald Trump has shown that African American males are a voting bloc who are independent thinkers, who you very much need to pay attention to, and you want to hear what they have to say, because that is going to be a large voting bloc moving forward.
So he's gonna have to get out there and beat them bushes.
Hey, listen, he's going to have to get out there and beat the bushes. He's going to have to see what it is that African American males and everybody. I'm not just saying it's limited to that, because unlike some people say, "Oh, just listen to us," I'm not saying that. As African American male, I'm just saying understand what issues are important to me as well. Not don't just listen to everybody, but for far too long, the Democratic Party has ignored what is important to African American males.
You're right. I agree.
And even Barack Obama said, we talked about him last week, even Barack Obama even said that Black males have been ignored, or Black females have been elevated to the detriment of Black males, because Black men, young Black boys, were forgotten because we wanted to elevate young women. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you can't elevate one to the exclusion of the other.
And you're right. And the question that I would ask, and man, no disrespect, but what contribution did he have to that?
Who that? Barack?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, we saw his contribution to that. And from that statement that he made, about we should all have and listen, no cap. What the young kids saying? No cap,
no capping.
No cap. we ain't capping on Let's Talk Nation. But I mean, all jokes aside, he talks about that every male circle would be better to have a homosexual male as a part of that circle. If you have someone that is a homosexual male in your circle, cool. If you don't, cool. That's how I feel. But you know what I forgot that was pointed out? Remember when Barack Obama wrote his book, right? That he wrote a letter to his girlfriend saying how he sometimes fantasized about having sex with men.
Oh, see, I guess
I forgot all about that until I was listening and I was going through some stuff, and that was brought back up. In one of his books, he talked about how he wrote a letter to his girlfriend and something like that.
He actually wrote that in the book?
Yeah. Listen, remember, listen, Barack Obama has been straight up with everybody. Remember, he said I think he said he did a little bump of cocaine at some point in time. Listen, Barack Obama is probably, everybody's talking about Bill Clinton was a realist. I think that Barack Obama was the realest president that we've had. I think he was a realist. I don't agree with everything that he says and does, but I believe that in terms of transparency and letting you know who he is. I remember he would smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, I remember. He stopped smoking though, right?
Supposedly. He said he finally let out that he would have to sneak so Michelle would see him smoking. So
hey, Greg, hit me with this last thing, man. Give me some updates, man, on this weight loss drug and side effects and lawsuits and all this good old.
So listen, we talked a little bit about this not too long ago, and especially when my wife was on, a registered licensed dietitian and nutritionist, and a lot of times people want to lose weight, and there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes people found themselves wanting to use these drugs, the Mounjaro, the Wegovy,
semaglutide,
and those things. And so what they have found is that these drugs have certain side effects, such as gastric paresis, meaning that the stomach muscles or something in the gastric cycle doesn't work. Ileosis, which is where there's a blockage, obstruction in the ileus area, as well as issues with the gallbladder and things of that nature. And so there is now a class action lawsuit because what they're saying is, by they, I mean lawyers, the lawyers are saying, I got to beat up on lawyers tonight, I don't know why. But what the lawyers are saying is that while they told people about these side effects, they just didn't tell them in strong enough language. So now they want to sue them because people are getting the conditions that they were warned about. So I just want people to understand, just be very careful about using these drugs, but this is one of those things where it's a choice thing. And I'm not necessarily in agreement with class action.
And Greg, these new drugs have been out there now 10 years, enough time for studies to be done to actually see the impact of side effects.
Because they were used for individuals with diabetes.
Oh, that's right.
So they were able to track it and they saw it. And so when people are like, oh, I'm losing weight on this drug, that's when people who wanted to lose weight started using the drug as well.
So I'll tell you what, hey, I'm going to leave on this one note. And the fact of the matter is, Greg, how do people get a hold of you? Because see, a lot of folks, they hear how good you are when you're giving us those legal briefings, but they don't know how to get a hold of you over at Dan Newland. How would they do that?
Listen, apparently you can go to my TikTok page. You can find me at greg.jackson.psq. Or you can always give me a call at 407-564-6604. That's the number that you can contact me. And I'm more than happy to talk to you about any information or any issue that you may have. So.
Well, I tell you what, y'all can tune in to Let's Talk Nation next Monday from 7 to 8. But Brother Jackson, hey, brother, you don't have to go home.
Got to get out of here.
We'll see you next week on Let's Talk Nation. Please join us.